I'm the program administrator at Sinai Hospital of Baltimore, and I am a member of the ARAS Executive Committee. So I'm kind of going to host this webinar, but call on my fellow committee members to chime in as well, so that we can just have a well-rounded conversation about how different institutions handle the craziness of match day and what life looks like for us afterwards. So with that, how about I have the rest of my committee member colleagues introduce themselves? Dana, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Dana Cooley. I'm on the executive committee with Stephanie. We actually joined the same year. I'm at the Detroit Medical Center in Detroit. We have 54 approved residents, but we usually only have about 52 on any given year. So.
Awesome. Eileen, our president.
So I am Kylene Smartis. I am a GME manager over at Northeast Georgia Medical Center, and we currently have 30 general surgery residents, and we have just started 6 preliminary. So it should be an interesting new session this year.
Awesome. Tyronda.
I am Tyronda, located at University of South Alabama here in Mobile, Alabama. I have a total of 34 general surgery residents, and I have 1 surgical critical care fellow, and this year we'll have 2. So I got a compliment increase there. So I joined the committee last year. It'll be my first full year this year.
Awesome. And Marianne.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Marianne Garcia-Bauman from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the program administrator for the Department of Surgery, and we have 73 residents and looking to expand as well.
Awesome. Yep. And my program at Sinai, we have 20 clinical plus 4 value-added research residents at all times. So we've got a great range of different sizes, academic versus non-academic programs within the executive committee, which honestly is my favorite part, because you can learn so much from how other institutions do things. So again, I want this to be conversational, so please chime in if you have any questions, but we're going to go through some match day practices, how we do things at our institution, and feel free to chime in to talk about what you guys do if you do something different and it works really well for you, because, you know, just by sharing, we can learn so much from each other. So let's see if I can get this slide to progress. Off to a hot start over here. Okay. There we go. So the NRMP match agreements for programs. At the very, very beginning of interview season, which we have probably all already done, hopefully, you signed attestations through the NRMP website. And in those attestations, there's a lot of things that you acknowledged, whether you know it or not, of what we are agreeing to do or not to do. But big things to remember, particularly as the interview season closes and we're in that window of maybe some second look days, or before we finalize our rank lists. You should never ask the candidates the names, the specialties, the geographic locations of programs that they've applied to or are interviewing with, got interviews with. This is, I have to remind my faculty every single year, and they are helpful reminders because people always forget, especially if you get a lot of help from, you know, a well-rounded group of faculty within your department. The candidates can offer that information up to you. Just know that we as programs should not be asking those questions. Similarly, along those lines, we should not be making any sort of nod to the program's intention to rank the candidate. Candidates, by all means, they can let us know. I think we've already had a few emails come through. It seems to be a growing trend that I'm seeing more emails with intent to rank, or where they tell me your program's in my top 3, or I'm ranking you number 1. But that's been kind of an interesting trend to see for me personally at my program. I've seen more of them in the past 2 years than I did in prior cycles. But yes, these are important pieces of information to remember. You cannot, should not bring up with the candidate. It is fully up to the candidate. If they choose to give you that information, that's on them, that's fine. You can volunteer how you intend to rank an applicant as long as you make no verbal or written contact prior to the release of the match results. I don't know if my exec committee colleagues do this or not. I personally, at my program, we don't say anything. Do any of you guys ever make any nod to this throughout your season?
Nothing at all. We don't say anything about where they're, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing here either.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, neither do we. Honestly, I don't even, I collect all the thank you emails or letters and ask my, faculty to send me the thank yous, and I've never replied to a thank you. I store them all, I read them all, but yeah, it's always good to see them. But yes, it's very specific that, the NRMP does say that you can volunteer how you intend to rank an applicant, but for me, I think that kind of the waters get murky. So I'm always erring on the side of caution, and would rather not jumble any words or give any, false narratives or any false hope to the candidates. And then just a reminder that the match results are a binding commitment. They cannot be undone. The only way they can be undone post-match is if a waiver is successfully completed and filled out and approved. Has anyone in here ever
I
tried
have
to
had,
apply for a
I've had two
waiver?
of them. I've had two.
Okay.
One was last year, one of our graduates matched into a fellowship.
Mhm.
His wife had gotten breast cancer when he was with us, and it was, the prognosis wasn't good. So he needed to start a role right away instead of doing a fellowship. So he was provided that waiver, and that was a medical necessity for his family. So that one was approved by the NRMP. I had
Okay.
another one a few years ago where we had matched a preliminary resident. He was really interested in a different program. I had been sending him all the notices. He was in our new innovations. He was working on onboarding. And about 3 weeks before July 1st, he said something to me about, oh, I'm going to a different program in July. So I'm not going to be starting with you guys. And I'm like, what? No, you're in a match agreement with the NRMP. I immediately called my PD. Long story short, his request for a waiver to go to a different program was denied because it was not a good enough reason. There was a few other issues with that one, but we won't get into that for this one. But just know that it is very difficult to get a waiver approved once all these contracts have been signed with NRMP.
Got it.
True medical necessities, that one is it went through pretty quickly.
Yeah, and in either of those cases, Dana, is it the program that has to initiate the waiver request or the candidate? Can it be either?
It's the candidate, because they're the ones requesting it.
Okay.
But the program needs to answer a lot of questions. The PD has to do letters, so it's an involved process.
Yes.
But the NRMP does respond quickly to emails and stuff. So, I mean, there was constant communication for the information.
Yeah, we actually had one where the applicant ghosted us. Like basically they called us, they were filling out all the paperwork, and then they called us and they said, "Oh, I'm not coming." And we said, "Okay, well, you need to go through the process." And they just stopped. They just stopped talking to us. They wouldn't answer phone calls or anything. So we actually had to document all our communications and trying to reach them and sending out, for signature that we were trying to reach them just to make sure that we could get it dropped and it wasn't our fault type thing. So and they're very difficult to get out of.
Got it. Thank
And
you.
I should also note that resident, he was, I don't want to, blacklist is not the right word, but he was prevented from participating in the match the next year because of what he had done and how it went around. He eventually got a job this year after, but just know that it is very, very binding.
Yeah, definitely. That's good to know. And again, if anyone else has had this experience that's not a part of the executive committee, we want to hear from you guys too. Because I've never dealt with that before, so it's good to know. Knock on wood, hopefully I won't have to. But yeah, that's always good to know. Okay. So match week coming up in March. So I guess one thing that I failed to add to this PowerPoint is the rank list certification deadline. Now even myself, I'm blanking. Is it March 5th or March 3rd this year? Does anyone know off the top of their
March
head?
5th.
March 5th. Yeah, that's what I thought. So just a reminder, kind of where we stand in the academic year right now. My program personally, we finished interview days. And we've had our rank meeting. We are finishing up some second look days. But yeah, March 5th, must have that rank list certified and submitted. And then from there, we wait a little bit, a little 2 weeks almost. So match week, starting on Monday, March 17th, you as a program will be notified of your fill status at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as most of us probably know, this will just alert us to know, okay, you filled all of your spots, or if you didn't and you're participating in SOAP, here's your notification. It's time to get ready to SOAP for whatever way that looks like for your program. So on Tuesday, if you did not fill, you can begin reviewing applications for SOAP at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is just an overarching reminder that all of these times are always based off Eastern Standard Time. And you as a program can begin entering your SOAP preference list in the R3 system at 11:30 a.m. Wednesday is another day of SOAPing. Thursday, more SOAP rounds with deadlines to certify your program list if you're still not filling after round 1 or 2. If you did fully fill in your program, which fingers crossed, that's always best case scenario, you will get the confidential roster of your matched applicants at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Big reminder, do not say anything to anyone. At least that is, you're not supposed to reach out to any of your candidates. Every school has their fun for match day when they do a big reveal and they actually release the results at noon on Friday. So even I have had the joy of learning. One time our director of medical education released all of the results out, not to the candidates, but to everyone in the institution. And a lot of our program directors got very, very upset about that. They're like, this is not your news to share. This is our exciting news and it's too early. So that's usually just my PD and myself at my program, at least. We obviously are very excited to see who we rank, and the residents are down my back all day trying to get me to spill the beans. But very much keep that information to yourself. But Thursday, I feel like, is our fun day as program administrators because we put so much time and effort into interview season, and it is fun to find out who we matched. And then of course, Friday is the real match day. That is when the candidates will find out where their fate lies, what cities they'll be going to and such. So yeah, I know the medical schools have a lot of fun. They do a big to-do for their match day. So we strongly advise it. Wait until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time even to reach out to your candidates that you matched that Friday. I usually give them, my program director always calls them And then once she calls them, I usually go in and send them a quick call. And if I don't catch them, I just shoot them a text message or an email, just, welcoming them and letting them know how excited we are that they matched, which is always interesting because you never know what state they're going to be in. I think one year match day was on St. Patrick's Day, and I could hear all these candidates just big party in the background, champagne bottles popping, which, that's exciting for them and they should be celebrating. But it's always interesting to know how everyone's celebrating. Do any of my committee members have anything to add? Anything special that you guys do? Any members of the group? Do you have any questions up to this point for things that we've gone through? We are going to get into SOAP a little bit at the end of the presentation. So if you do have questions for SOAP, we will get to that as well.
Our medical school just does a big celebration, and we put together like a composite of their photos and where they're from, and we put it on our social media. So that's a lot of the ways that we do it. And, we send out that information when it's time to all of the department and the residents and fellows.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
Okay.
just on a side note, because I'm not sure how many new coordinators we have here, but I'm going to post a link. It is the NRMP matching algorithm. So if you're curious on how that works, it's actually very interesting to see and how it goes. But I always thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, the algorithm hurts my head, so I just let it do its thing. And
There's
try not-
real good YouTube on it.
Yeah, the video is very, very helpful
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, for my match day, we do the same thing as Mary Ann. We make our own picture composite of everybody, and at 12:01, that's when I send the email out to all the faculty, the residents, everybody in my department. And then I only send a welcome email to the matched applicants. Just say, welcome, enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend. Next week we're going to hit it. So I don't do much else. Our school does have a big to do. So they are celebrating there as well.
Yes, I forgot to mention that too. Yes, we do. I do reach out to them via email. Our program director will reach out to them by phone call, and our admin chief, who is newly appointed for the new academic year, will reach out to them and welcome them as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. There are tons of ways to publicize your news and show your excitement and welcome the new candidates. I know my program, most programs at this point do, the posting of everyone's headshots in an Instagram post. Sharing who we matched with, which is always, I honestly think it's even fun to see where the rest of our rank list goes, because my program follows other programs. So I'm stalking the Instagram feed that day too to see, oh, they wound up with so-and-so. Like, that's exciting, So match day is very fun. If you do any website updates to your program's website, that's a time to think about it. I do a newsletter with my program that we send out to faculty, alumni, departments, departmental members. So we'll always add that news in there. And then another thing is, as Dana kind of mentioned, like, what do you immediately, send out to your candidates? I also, on match day, it's more of just hey, we're so excited. Have a great time celebrating with your family and friends. You deserve it. But then, yeah, the next week you start to, gather your admin tasks and round up all the things that you need from them. I saw something coming through the chat. I just want to, oh, perfect. Thank you, Kylie. Okay, so it sounds like we're all kind of on the same pages. We try not to provide too much information to them on match day. Let them celebrate before we become their least favorite name to see pop up on their emails. Or favorite. Hopefully we're favorites for some, but I know I'm the least favorite for some of my residents. All righty. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay. So back to Dana's point, let's let them celebrate Friday and through the weekend. And then I would love to go through and see what all you guys, what you ask of your newly matched residents within the first like few months of matching. The timing, I think we've kind of gone through the timing. You usually wait at least till the week after match. But does anyone know off the top of their head, do they have their system down and want to share what the information is that you go ahead and collect? For me, my GME department sends me a list, which honestly, it's all usually information that's readily available from their application in ARAS. So a lot of that information, just like date of birth, demographic kind of stuff, contact information, automatically our GME department handles that in uploading into MedHub. That's the big thing for us. We use MedHub, so the first thing my med ed department wants is that information so that they can get them started and set up as an incoming resident in MedHub.
So we have new innovations, and in ARAS, we go in and do will start. And then once we submit our notice of appointment page that we have to fill out for a GME office, we give them that information. And then once they get that, then they pull all the ARAS application information into new innovations. So it's pretty well automated for all of that. And I usually work on those on that Friday, get the notice of appointments ready. I try not to send it to the GME office until after 12 o'clock, just because I don't want to, jump the gun on anything, and just make sure I'm okay with NRMP and not releasing names before that. So that's, the very first thing that I do after we know who we matched with.
I'm also on the same page with Dana. We use new innovations, so we use that checklist, and GME will prepare that for us. And we have to get everything to GME before 2 p.m. that afternoon. And after that, I'll prepare offer letters to send out so they can sign and send back to us. Then the following week, we have like an information packet to send out to them.
Yes, so we actually have a letter that has to go out Friday from our GME office with a contract and a press release on it. And then that's expected back by that Monday or that Tuesday. And we, as coordinators, go in, and Mark will start in AAMC, the PDWS. And we utilize MedHub, and they can pull that information. So they take care of that. And then from there, we utilize MedHub again to do packets. So we have a handbook that we send them, and it has all the information and a link, and they start uploading all the documents that they need. Just looking for our timeline.
Yours sounds pretty quick. Mine is not quite that quick.
Yeah, mine.
So I turn in my notice of appointments. I do the will start. GME starting to do their stuff, but their onboarding checklist will not be ready for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Their contracts will not come out until I think it's the middle of May. So we don't have that information. So what I do is usually on that Monday is I give them or the orientation timing that we have, like at the end of June, whether or not they're going to need BLS, ACLS, ATLS, and we also have ABLS, the burn service. So that's all the information that they need to get. I tell them when they need to be in Detroit, when they need to start working on it. So this is when I give them all of that detailed information of timeline for them in the coming months. And my biggest thing, I want to make sure to let you know that a lot of these students go out of the country during this time before they start. So I always make sure that they are informed that if you go out of the country, just let me know, because then I can make sure your license stuff is started. If you need to get scheduled for our occupational health, for your health clearance is scheduled. So I just like to know if they're going to be out of town, out of country, because that can really hamper it if they're out for a month and they haven't done certain things. So I just keep in contact with them like that until the onboarding checklist is actually created. And then I monitor that as well.
Yes, that's the same here. With Colleen, my GME office have us to send out stuff that their contracts and stuff that Friday, the day of match. So that normally goes out no later than 2 p.m. Central Standard Time here for us. And then they have it back to me no later than that Wednesday of the following week. And then the GME gets everything, the onboarding checklist, and they send it out. Same with Dana. My contract is not done until probably about mid-May to have everything out to them. But mainly here in my GME office does handle a lot of onboarding for me. But I do have my own departmental onboarding that I do as well. So I do send out a letter, a big broad letter out to them, letting them know, get them my orientation. Because here we do ABLS and ATLS during orientation week. So I just need to make sure they have the ACLS and BLS before they come. So that's how I do it at my institution.
Yeah, I will echo what Dana said. I think one of the biggest points too is to remind them when you need them in town.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want them going and booking trips, to Hawaii in the middle of June.
Yes, because in my letter I do say, hey, if you plan on going on your last trip, be in town no later than June 1st. That way I make sure everybody's here by June 1st. And they don't have to be in Mobile, but be in the United States by June 1st.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And if you do have expectations of them coming already ACLS, BLS certified, yeah, that stuff is the more advanced notice you can give them, the better, so that they can plan the rest of their few months out. But awesome. It sounds like, yeah, I'm kind of lucky like Tyronda. My GME department handles a lot of the heavy lifting for onboarding. It's more of just on my end, making sure that what departmentally we like to have from them. So clearly it can be a combination. Some of you handle it all. Some of you have some help from your GME. There is no right or wrong way. It's just however your institution decides it likes to do it.
I have we have like an onboarding checklist that we've assigned things and different things that we do. If someone would like to see it, please just reach out to me. I'm happy to share it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we kind of already hit on this just in our conversation, which is fine, but just make sure that if you do your own thing as a department, also make sure that you are following your institution's protocols, and, give them whatever information they need to be able to do their end of the work as well. We went over celebrating match week. Lots of us do different things, social media posts. I also, if I feel like I have the energy, some years I feel like I have more energy, others I don't. But something that we did start to do was I will go around and videotape some of our current residents, a short clip of them in a video saying welcome to the candidates. And then I just do a little like video collage, which has been very well received. It's like a nice personal touch and kind of, lets the candidate know that it's not just the PD or the admin that are excited for the match. It's the residents that you met during the interview season, that are pumped that, we're going to get to work with you in the next year. So you can get creative with that kind of stuff. I'm sure people might send out some swag or anything like that, if you have that, but there's lots of different options. Does anyone else have anything like unique that they do to celebrate match week that they want to share that we're not touching on? No? All right. If you think of it later, share, because we are not the end all be all. You guys have a lot of knowledge and information too. All right, I am going to pass this off mainly to my BFF Dana, who unfortunately her program has had to soap in the past. I think those bigger programs with prelims and such, that's more than expected to happen. But here, this is going to be a brief overview and rundown of SOAP. So Dana, I'll let you put your 2 cents in.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, SOAP. So we take 10 preliminary residents every year, and we generally do our prelim rank list with the mind of going into SOAP. So we don't spend a lot of time and effort and energy in interviewing a lot of preliminary candidates because it's not very high yield. So we do always plan on doing SOAP. That's just how we do it. We've been fortunate that our categorical list, we usually match all the way, so we don't have to do SOAP for that. But it is for our prelims. So that's for any unmatched applicant. It's not the same as match because the programs are the ones who put their selections in, and then the applicant can accept or deny the offer. So how it really works is Monday, everybody finds out if they've matched. If the resident opens up the letter and finds out they are not matched, it's a very hard thing to accept, I think, for a lot of them. So they give them that afternoon to kind of talk about it with their dean and any other faculty mentors that they may have. And then the next day they can start putting in their application if they need to make changes, figure out what kind of programs and cities they may want to try for a prelim. I'm going to go just as prelims because that's basically what is out there for surgery. And then so on that Tuesday is when they start putting their applications in, and then about 11:30 is when the programs are able to log in and look. Oh no, I'm sorry, 8 o'clock they can start looking at the applications. So it's usually the Tuesday and the Wednesday where the programs review the applications and then reach out to the candidates. Now it's really my PD who has the bulk of the work during SOAP. I will go into the PDWS, look at the candidates myself, kind of, go through them, see if anybody is maybe applied to us, interviewed with us for categorical spot, and they didn't match, so they're applying SOAP. So I will bring those names out to my PD. Anybody else that I kind of see, maybe from our school, anybody that pops out to me. But my PD does his own list, and then he does all the reaching out. I will get a lot of emails and phone calls from people saying, hey, I applied for SOAP. And I immediately tell them, do not contact us. That's a violation. It's an NRMP match violation. So I don't even take their names. I don't take their numbers. I just say, do not call us. We'll call you if your application comes out. So that's usually Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday is when the SOAP starts. So we go into NRMP the same way you do for the categorical and your rank list. And you put your applicant's name in. It has to be done by 9 a.m. for the first round. And then they get 2 hours to review it. Sometimes that is a long 2 hours for us because we're watching the list. We're saying, oh, this person, denied ours. He must have got somewhere else. Or, hey, we got somebody accepted. So we work that out. And that 4 rounds, we went 3 rounds last year. So that can be kind of stressful when you have like 8 spots to fill. And my PD's calling all these people and they're saying, yeah, I'll come. And then they don't take us. It kind of, it's a little demoralizing a little bit, but we don't take it personally. So we can monitor when you put in the rank. I'm calling it rank because it is a rank on our list. So say we have 10 spots for prelim. Say we match 2 right out of the gate. So that means we have 8 spots available. You can put more people in your rank list, but in round 1, only 8 people will be sent an invite. If 3 people accept our invite, that means we still have 5 open spots. The offer from round 1 will not go into round 2. The program has to go back in and redo a rank list. So we do monitor it. We're there all day looking at these things. And then you just keep going every round. And then hopefully at the end of it, you've gotten all your spots filled.
Yeah.
Have I explain it enough? I know I'm kind of all over the place.
There was a question in the chat. They said
Okay.
they're a little confused. It says, I thought we can't tell them we want them. Can we tell
Okay, so
them
soap
that
is
they're
different because it's us telling them, and then they could get calls from 4 different programs. And we won't know that because you can't ask them that. So my PD will call somebody, another PD could be calling them at the same time, and then we both put them on our rank list. And then when the offer goes to the candidate, they get 1, 2, 3, however many offers they have. They have 2 hours to think about it, talk with their mentors, and see which program would be best for them. Then they either accept or deny the offers. If they don't do anything, then it's an automatic withdrawal at the end of the 2 hours. So we can tell them, yes, we want you. We're going to put you on our list.
Yeah, so for SOAP, it's a little different than the regular match. The regular match, the candidate gets to put in a rank list, and the program gets to put in a rank list. When it comes to SOAP, only the programs submit a rank list. The candidates cannot reach out to programs and express interest. It's more of the ball is in your court as a program, a little bit more. With SOAP, as far as you get to submit your rank list, but then you are like Dana mentioned, you are at the helm of the candidate for whether or not they accept we're offering you a spot. But yeah, if people are getting multiple offers in the first round of SOAP, they're gonna have to deny, they accept one and the rest get denied.
Right. So once you do reach out to a candidate during SOAP, they are then allowed to contact you again. So once you open the lines of communications, it's back and forth. So they can reach out after that, but prior to that, they are they can apply in PDWS, and then that's it until they hear from somebody.
Now, if Dana, you say, I'm going to keep using your example just because it's good to use that. You have 10 prelim positions. Say after 4 rounds of soaping, you did not fill all 10 spots. Say you only filled 8 of the 10 and SOAP completely ends. At that point, are you able to give people offers, but it's obviously outside of the realm of the NRMP and the match and the SOAP? Is that correct?
That's after 12 p.m. the next day, I think, is when you can do the outside the match, because then match will be completely over.
Yeah, that's when you'll see I think sometimes they used to go out on the APDS listserv of like, we have an open, prelim spot here or there. I have someone who's a great candidate that's looking for a spot, stuff like that.
Yeah, we would not do anything until after that Friday, just because you wouldn't want to risk any match violations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds scarier than it actually is. It's just a lot of reviewing applications, just like you did before, and the PD talking to the people and waiting for them to either accept or deny your offer.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a question.
Hi, this is Laurie. I'm actually at Penn State College of Medicine in Hershey. We're very similar to you. We fill all 10 of our prelim spots through the SOAP process. And we've kind of perfected this along the way and have learned a lot. Some tips that we have done and found is we actually have all our research residents participate in the SOAP process with us. And they actually are the first call to the candidates. If they like them and the candidates get past our research residents, then they talk to the faculty member. And if they make it through that step, then they talk to our program director. So they actually, each candidate gets 3 calls from us before we even make a decision on if we're gonna rank them in the SOAP process. That's one thing that we've learned, and it worked well. The other thing is that when you're making your first SOAP list, we used to just put on, so like we fill 10 spots. We used to only put on 10 names. We found out pretty quickly that if you put on you know, everybody that you're kind of watching and wondering if they're still going to be available in round 2, 3, and 4, you can see who fell off your list during that first round. So you can tell who you still have available for round 2. And then from round 2, you see who you still have available from round 3. Because otherwise you really have to go into the system and really do some searching to see if they're still available or if they got scooped up in the first round.
That's a
So
very
that's
good
just
point,
one
yeah.
tip that I would give everybody is everybody that you're potentially looking at, put on your list. It will only allow you to pull as many names as you can for spots that you have available, but it allows you to see everybody else that's out there.
Yeah, I like that point. Yeah, we do that as well. I didn't even think to say that, but thank you, Larry.
Anyone have any other questions? Doesn't have to be soap. Anything about where we stand in this time of the year, or any other tidbits that you think something might be unique that you guys do that you love that you do for your program this time of year to share? All right. Well, if not, we can give you back some of your day. I would love to point out I will be at ACGME in Nashville. Dana, are you going? Did you
Yes,
just?
I'm going.
Dana will be there.
I'll
Mary,
be there.
yeah.
There.
Tyronda, you're going as well?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Big party.
Yeah.
If you want to meet up with fellow surgery people, I know it's a humongous conference, but feel free to reach out to any of us if you want to connect. It's my first year going to ACGME, so I'm very excited.
Mine too.
And then another plug, a bigger plug for Surgical Education Week this upcoming year. Please, if you haven't already, think about registering or reach out to your PD or your GME department to see if you have funding to come join us at Surgical Education Week. We have a great schedule planned out for everyone, and we are really looking forward to seeing everyone in person that can make it there. But otherwise, if there are no other questions,
There
Mike-
is a question in the chat. Is there a planned ARAS event at ACGME? And I don't believe we have anything set up officially.
no, we don't have a plan, but if you want to reach out to any of us, I'm happy to connect with people. I think I'm going to be underwater a lot with just how big ACGME is, but it would be nice to see some surgery faces there. So would love to try and make something informally happen as a meetup.
So ARAS conference, it's virtual and in person in May in Seattle, Washington this year.
Yeah. We are looking forward to it. But yeah, if no one else has any other questions, even if you do have questions, feel free to always email out on the ARAS listserv, or reach out to any of us. Virtual all days. Yep, there will be a virtual attendance option for the entire conference. But yeah, you know how to reach us, hopefully. And we are always here to help answer questions. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope this was helpful for you all.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one, everyone.
Have a good